Hare Krishna, welcome devotees to the Gita Daily session. So today we'll be discussing Sloka 6.41. Thanks for joining. So let's move. Take the blessings of Lord Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, Maya, Sudarshan, Lakshmi, Narasimhadev, Gaur, Nitai, Panchatattva. By their blessings, we'll be able to understand the transcendental topics of Bhagavad Gita. So let's take the blessings of the Lord. So we'll recite the prayers. Om Atnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatyadeshatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So let's dedicate the session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. By whose mercy we are able to understand the transcendental topics of Bhagavad Gita and also able to apply in a practical way in our day-to-day life. So let's thank Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we'll be discussing 6th chapter, Sloka number 41. So we'll also cover 42 because they are interconnected. So let's recite the Sloka. Prapya punya kritam lokan usitva shashvati samah Sujinam Srimadam Gehe Yogo Brashto Vijayate. Repetition. Prapya Punya Kritam Lokan Ositva Shashwati Samaha Sujinam Srimadam Gehe Yoga Brashto Vijayate. Translation by Divine Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planet of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. See the word to a meaning. Prapya, after achieving, Punyakritam, of those who perform pious activities, Lokan, planets, Ositva, after dwelling, Shashwati, many, Samaha, years, Suchinam, of the pious, Srimatam, of the prosperous, Gehe, in the house, Yoga, Brishta, one who has fallen from the path of self-realization, Abhijayate, takes birth. So we'll again recite the translation. The unsuccessful yogi, after many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into the family of rich aristocracy. So we'll get into the detail of today's sloka. So just to recap, one second. Yeah, so now we are in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So somebody who has missed yesterday's session, they can go to the recording. But the 6th chapter we discussed yesterday briefly that it is talking about Ashtanga Yoga. So in the path of self-realization, there is a yoga ladder. We saw that yoga means connecting to the Lord, right? So yoga actual original meaning is huge, comes from Sanskrit, used to connect. So if any yoga is performed, like whether it is karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, or bhakti, right? Of course, bhakti is with the Lord. So any of the yoga, if it is not done in relationship with the Lord, Supreme Lord, then it is not fruitful. It will only have temporary benefits. So this particular chapter is about Ashtanga Yoga, which we saw, right? It is the today's world, though most people perform yoga, which is the Ashtanga Yoga, which mainly consists of asanas, pranayama, etc. So we saw the 8 angas yoga yesterday. So yesterday's sloka we discussed the importance of regulation in spiritual life. No? So even if you are practicing Ashtanga Yoga, there are 8 limbs, no, where it is yama, niyama, etc. Right? No, pratyahara. So basically, there are do's and don'ts. There are regulations. No, it has to be done. So any spiritual path requires discipline and regulation. Right? You have to be controlled in eating, sleeping, working, relaxing. So yesterday we saw that. So in today's sloka, so basically after that, the conversation is going on between Krishna and Arjuna. So we also saw that after explaining the entire yoga process, by Krishna, Arjuna asked Krishna, no, this particular yoga, Krishna, this process which you have described, Ashtanga, this yoga process, it looks very difficult for me to execute. So we also saw that no, the in different yugas there are different process. In the Kali Yuga, the process is the Bhakti Yoga or the chanting of the holy names, right? So and Treta Yuga, Satya Yuga, the meditation was recommended. So people were in the mode of goodness mode. People had long lifespan, so they were able to do the Ashtanga Yoga. So, but nevertheless, no, we in the flow of the topic, right? We are discussing on Bhagavad Gita. We are touching upon this Ashtanga Yoga also, right? So that is why. So then what happens after that? Arjuna tells Krishna. So after yogi performing, taking so much difficulties and austerities of many years, if he performs, he performs yoga for many long period of time. But in the end, if he is not successful in completing the yogic process, right, then what is his destination? So this question, Arjuna asked Krishna. Arjuna asked this doubt, right? So then, so what Arjuna exactly tells is, this is the shloka. आयिता श्रद्धा रेपेतो योगचरितमानसा अप्राप्य योग संसिद्धिं काम गतिं कृष्ण गच्छति. So Krishna, no, Arjuna said, "Oh Krishna, what is the destination of unsuccessful transcendentalist who in the beginning takes the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" So this basically the Ashtanga Yoga process is generally meant to achieve mystic yoga, like mystic siddhis. So siddhis, no, there are different siddhis like anima, mahima, legima, prapti, etc. Basically, we have seen that like they can become very small, they can become very large, they can travel from one place to another, no, without actually walking or something. No, they can by in the mind they can think and they can go to different place. Like that, there are different siddhis, ashta siddhis are there. So generally, most of the Ashtanga yogis does yogic process Ashtanga yoga to attain siddhis. But in today's world, no, this is not true. Mostly people do this only for no keeping the body fit, right, and the mind fit. So that is the thing. But in originally, the Ashtanga yoga process was meant for that, and gradually, the yogi may attain self-realization, but that is not permanent. Right? We saw that yesterday. Their destination, ultimate destination, generally is Brahman, or they merge into the Brahman. But then that also is not permanent. They may again come back because of the material desires are not fully satisfied, or they have not developed attachment to the Lord. So unless one attached to the Lord, then we don't desire to go back to the Lord. We will not go back to the Lord. Whatever based on the jiva's desire, he attains the destination. So then Krishna says to Arjuna, that one who takes up this transcendental spiritual path, any of the spiritual path, he will not meet with destruction. That there is no inauspicious that will not happen to such a person. But then it may not be in this lifetime. So then this sloka, today's sloka comes, Prapya punya kritam logan, usitva shashvata sama, shujinam srimadam gehe, yoga brishta abhijayate. Right, so it is mentioned like that. And then next sloka says, Adava yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimada, edaddi durlabam taram, loges janma yat drisham. So the next sloka says, so basically Prabhupada explains, Acharyas explain that there are two cases of the yogis. Right, so in one case, the yogi actually starts this yogic process, but then he did not make very much progress. No, he made little progress in yoga. So if such a yogi, what happens is that because he has a lot of material desire still, he goes to higher planets. No, because when you do punya karma, we saw that we are elevated to higher planets. We get pious credits, and we go to higher planets where the enjoyment facilities are higher, right? And then after enjoying in the higher planets, then the yogi again comes back to the material world and takes birth in the rich family or an aristocratic family. So he'll have more facilities here, right? So this is one case. Second case is that the yogi actually makes a lot of progress, advancement, but then he did not attain self-realization. He did not merge into that. He could not get Brahman realization. He could not merge into the Brahman. So he had done a lot of progress. So in such a case, what happens is that the yogi actually, he comes back. He takes birth in a family of spiritualists. So where actually he can continue, his yogic process. He may take birth. He may lucky if he's lucky, he may take birth in the family of a devotee, or otherwise he takes in the family of transcendentalist, spiritualist. So sometimes we see that the small kids or the children, or a young age, they have some natural inclination for the spiritual progress, a spiritual path. Right? They may like fish in the water. No, they naturally take up to the spiritual process. So this is because of the past, yogic process. The yogi is talking. So basically, these two categories, what is discussed in this sloka, are of the about yogis, Ashtanga yogis, not about devotees. So what about devotees? So devotee is somebody who is practicing bhakti, right? Who actually is attached to the Lord, and his desire is to go back to the Lord. So if a devotee actually performs bhakti, even if he does some small progress in devotional service, he will definitely get birth in a devotee family, right? So that he can continue. So in this context, we can recap the shloka, second chapter, 40th shloka we have discussed, some time back. You can actually see it in the recording. In the shloka, actually Krishna mentions Neha Vikramanashosi Pratyamaya Vidyade Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya Trayade Mahadobhaya. Krishna says, even if you make a little progress, right, there is no loss or diminution, right? Swalpam Abhyasya Dharmasya, even if you make a very little progress, you will get an opportunity to continue from that point. So what actually we see in the material world generally, all that we see, material possessions, right? Whatever we attain in this life, like we may be a great very rich person, like we may be Ambani or you may be Bill Gates. So they have accumulated a lot of wealth, right? So many, they own so many properties, so many companies, etc. So they are very rich. But when at the time of death, right, they cannot take anything to the next life, right? Everything is lost. Whatever the material possessions we take, it is a lost. Whatever the material relationship we have, right, whether family members, son, father, mother, child, whatever it is, all spouse, everything is lost. Nothing is carried beyond the grave, right? They say everything ends at the grave, right? Graveyard. Beyond that, we can't take anything. But whatever spiritual credit we have accumulated in this life, it is permanently available in the bank account. So this bank account is accessible even in the next life also. So in the next life, you actually continue from the point where we stopped. So if you made 50% progress, you get a chance to start from 51%. So that is the special uh, benediction, right, of performing, executing devotional service. Yeah, so this is the essence of today's topic. But then what actually we need to understand from this is that, so we are still talking about yogi, right? So in the yoga ladder, actually there are different steps. So the first actually is beyond, like if you are a karma kandi, there's a karma kandi people, or who just does karma, who just does activity. Most of the people in the world belong to karma kanda people. So they actually just perform some activities, right? And then they get the credit. They may get a credit, or no, they may get that negative reaction. But then actually there is karma yoga. So what is karma yoga is actually doing karma in connection with the Lord, right? So the person who is doing karma yoga, he actually surrenders the results, or no, he dedicates the result to the Lord. No, he doesn't think that he is a enjoyer of it, right? So or he gives a share to the Lord. So this is the karma yoga. Then after the Jnana yoga is actually the process of understanding, making progress by acquiring knowledge, right? Then there is some Dhyana yoga, which is Ashtanga yoga. The sixth chapter is talking about Ashtanga yoga, and then after that Bhakti yoga. So we'll see that later. But then essentially there are steps. So so Bhakti actually is considered by the acharyas as the topmost. And if somebody is able to take up Bhakti, or you see that somebody is executing bhakti, then it is implied that he has done all other things in the past lives. So otherwise, some devotee, pure devotee, has to give his mercy, then so that he can take it up. But generally, it is a progress by step. So so that way, so we have a choice. So the point, what we are trying to say is that when we understand that what is the topmost process, then actually there is no need, or no need to waste time in trying out other processes, because our life is very short. We don't know how much time is really there left in the life. So so better to have faith and then take up the highest process. Right? That is an intelligent person, right? So even if you take up bhakti, to become perfect, it will take time. It is not that today we start bhakti and within 1 month I become perfect in bhakti. So that may not generally happen, right? It sometimes it takes many lifetimes to perfect in devotional service also. But in Srila Prabhupada, Acharyas, previous Acharyas, right, the Goswamis, so they have all developed a process, right, by the mercy of Lord, or by the guidance of the Lord, because they are the representative of the Lord. So they have developed a process for us, which is practical. And if we are sincere and faithful, sincerely and faithfully, seriously execute bhakti, Prabhupada says that in one lifetime we can achieve perfection. Right? So if an intelligent person doesn't want to take chance, now why do you want to practice yoga, then go to higher planets, then again take a life? So basically, we need to understand that even if you take birth in the family of devotees, or a spiritualist, there is always a risk, because there is no guarantee, right? First thing is that we may have to start everything again. maybe the spiritual credit is there, but then again we'll have to do everything materially, like you have to go to school, right? Then after that, no, you have to take up responsibility, like enter into family life. So all these difficulties, job. So whether you want to do all these things again, that is a question. An intelligent person doesn't want to again, take a risk of trying again. So intelligent person will try to take this process very seriously and try to attain perfection in this life, because somehow or other we have the fortune to get this knowledge. And no, why to take a chance, no? So Prabhupada always used to say, or Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, no, his spiritual master used to say that this material world is not a place for a gentleman, because here, always there is suffering and difficulties, right? We have seen it earlier. So an intelligent person will not take any chance. No, he'll take this process of devotional service very, very seriously, fully focus on it, because that is the ultimate thing, and nobody else can help you in this. Because it is mentioned, no, it is just like that. Everybody is flying their own plane, right? And if there's a danger in the plane which you are flying, other pilots cannot help you. It's very difficult, right? Maybe there is the ground staff, but then no, there is a limitation. Ultimately, you have to control the plane, right? So similarly, we are all in our own journey on the spiritual path, right? So nobody else is going to help us much. Ultimately, we have to take the call, and then take the decision and decide what is highest priority, and accordingly focus on that, and then proceed. So we'll see a small example, of a king, right? We have seen about King Chitraketu earlier, right, in a different context. So King Chitraketu, we have seen about that incidents. But in the current context, what we have to know is that there are three births of Chitraketu, which was mentioned. In the first birth, the Chitraketu was a king, right, who did not have his children, right? And Narada and Ankira, no, because he was not destined to have a child. But Angira, because of his mystic power and yoga, spiritual strength, he actually gives a child to King Chitraketu. But then that child, he told that it will be the cause both of misery and happiness. So we have seen that story, that the child dies in a young age. And then after that, Narada Muni and Angira Muni actually advises King Chitraketu about spiritual knowledge, right? So because of that, their association, Chitraketu becomes fortunate. So what happens after this birth? In the next birth, he gets elevated to the higher planets. There is a planet of Vidyadharas. We have a planet like Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas. So there are different categories of jivas, like or humans, not exactly humans, but no, like similar jivas. So the Vidyadhara is higher planet. Planet of Vidyadhara is considered the highest planet. So the king, Chitraketu, takes birth, as a Vidyadhara in the higher planets. In that, and then he continues his spiritual journey, right? Whatever he has started in as Chitraketu. But but the Lord actually had a plan, no, that he wants Chitraketu to come back to him as early as possible. So he creates an incident where Chitraketu will be cursed by Parvati, wife of Lord Shiva. And then in the next birth, actually, Chitraketu takes birth as Vritrasura. So Vritrasura was a demon because of the curse, but nevertheless, he was a very great devotee of the Lord. Right? He was always, he was having full spiritual knowledge about the Lord. So then Vritrasura, actually after Vritrasura's death, he actually goes back to the spiritual world. So this is an example, where actually a person goes to three life cycles, three lifetimes. So how he goes to higher planets, and then actually again takes birth. So, so what are the key lessons we learned today? So we reiterated actually the point that whatever spiritual progress we make, right, even if it is small, it is never lost. So no, you get another chance. But then it is risky to take another chance, right? Why to take another chance when we can make the best of in this lifetime? So an intelligent person will not want to take another chance. He will try to focus, take the opportunity of this life, and actually performs devotional service. Because if you don't do any of this dharmic process or in any yoga process, then actually there is no guarantee that you even get a human birth. Then the human birth is considered as very rare. No, Sudurlabham, right? Manusha Janmam. Very rarely obtain human birth, because 84 lakh options are available. On that only one, very rarely we get a human birth. So an intelligent person will not take any chance. He will try to make best use of this particular opportunity, this life, right? And focus completely on his ultimate benefit. Because everything else can wait, or everything else is temporary. There is no permanent value for all the material possessions, the so-called success in the material world. Right? So ultimately, what is beneficial is it is just like a drama which is going on here. So intelligent person will not want to play this, right? He will try to get out of this, right? So the thing is that we have to be very careful about what desires we are having. right? So if our desires are material, we have to keep examining. If it is material desire, then we have to understand that it is going to entangle us more and more and bind us here in this material world. So, so basically, we don't have to worry too much or break the head. The process is already clearly given by the acharyas. The process of bhakti is very simple, very easily and simply defined. Krishna mentioned susugam kartum aveyam. We can easily execute the bhakti process. Not just anybody who is having a tongue, right? You can vibrate the name, holy names of Krishna, right? By that we can become purified and make progress. So we can perform the ABCD we discussed, no? Association, books, chanting, and diet. By executing this, we can make progress in spiritual life. So we can apply this in family life, give the knowledge to everybody, try to make other members of your family also conscious about spiritual topics, right? So they are also benefited. So the greatest help that you can do to anybody, because we always are concerned, no, how can I help my family, right? So they are dependent on me. What will happen if I'm not there? So these kind of concerns, we need to understand that no, nothing we are doing, right? Ultimately, everything is Lord's plan. So all the best thing that we can do for our family members is to help them also to get out of this place, right? Cycle of birth and death. So the best thing, the greatest gift we can give to family members is to give the gift of Krishna, our spiritual knowledge, right? So we have to be patient and grateful. So summarize the end of the basic summary of this is that even though there are it is mentioned that making any progress in spiritual life, right? Even a yogi, right, who is not on the topmost level, even a yogi get a chance, second chance. But at the end of the day, our takeaway is that an intelligent person doesn't take a chance, right? Because there is always a risk. Because we don't know in second chance what opportunity will give, what are the risks. The environment of the Kali Yuga, Kali Yuga is advancing, and as time passes, the situation becomes more and more unfavorable for practicing devotional service. So it is a great risk to take another chance. So an intelligent person will not take another chance. No, he'll try to make best use of this life. So with that, I think we come to the end of today's discussion. If anybody wants to leave at this point, they can leave. So yeah, so just it's a happy new year for everybody. I wish you all a Krishna conscious, spiritually surcharged year ahead. Nevertheless, whatever this new year and so-called things, we saw that the material world is a cyclic thing. Everything repeats here, right? So year come, year go. According to Westerners, a particular day is considered as a new year. According to our traditional culture, no, like in India itself, there are different new years. So these are all conceptions, no. Of course, but that is an opportunity for us to take some decisions. But nevertheless, for a devotee, every day is same. Doesn't matter actually. But some there are auspicious days for devotees like Ekadashi or appearance of the Lord. So these days there is more spiritual benefit available. If you execute devotional life, devotional service in the Ekadashi, etc., you get more benefit. So basically, the Lord actually has provided various options, for us to somehow or other He want us to go back. But then we are blind and we are not even looking at the Lord. So we have to take those opportunity and make progress. But nevertheless, if some of you are still following this New Year concept, then actually they can take what you call that sankalpa, no? Or what is that? I don't get the right word. You can take some decision that how you want to spend this coming year, right? So understanding the knowledge we have, we should reprioritize our life so that we give more time for the real person, which is the Atma, and try to reorganize our activities so that our soul is also nourished, along with the body and other things. So yeah, with that I conclude. So if anybody has any question, they can please unmute and ask. Otherwise, no, we can end here. Yeah, Deepali Mataji, you want to? She's wishing everybody happy Krishna conscious year. Yes, I would also. Same to everybody. So yeah, looks like no question. Then I think we'll end here. We'll continue our discussion tomorrow. So thanks all of you for joining regularly. We'll see you again tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram.